Hey everyone, G-Force41 here with another casual preview. This week we've got quite a treat for you. We have Elysian Fields, an old Scottish Lynx by Scottish 67. Scott has done an incredible job. This course had started on 2K21, I believe, and then finished on 2K23. It is a traditional Lynx, and it is absolutely stunning, and it will be featured in the casuals week 8. The name comes from Prestwick, so it's inspired by Prestwick and North Berwick. To me, it plays a little bit more like a Prestwick, but we'll talk about that as we go. See what you think. Elysian Fields is named after the sixth hole at Prestwick, so means basically I'm reading right from his TGC Tours post here. Peaceful and beautiful region full of meadows, grooves, sunlight, and fresh air. So he's really captured the look and feel of Lynx, which is not easy in this game. And he's got some great holes. They're very unique, and I think you're going to love it. If you haven't played it, you're in for a treat. But let's get right to the golf. I'm going to play it from the back tees. I know the casuals, we play up tees, but I want to kind of give you the full experience here. I've got the wind going medium and east. I got the first hole location, and everything else is default. Let's get right to it, okay? Okay, let's get rolling. So you see the nice setting. You've got the town off to the right. Um, to me, this looks and feels a little bit more like Prestwick. Prestwick, if you know anything about links golf and championship golf, it starts with the railway off on the right. This has got the town off way off on the right. That's looks like that's 18, I believe, over there. But it does start out with a kind of traditional burn that goes through here. I think that's it. It goes through 1 and 18, but it's a cool way to start. Very nicely done. Those are not easy. That retaining wall work is tedious. Why I don't have many in my courses. So, excuse me. Really cool job. Great look and feel. You see the pot bunkers out there. You got a beach off to the left. You got a decision to carry over there. You've got a little bit more room on the left. Let's take a look at the green. Where do you want the approach from? With this, we want to be left. So you got some bunkers guarding the green. And I think the left side is going to work. So let's get rolling. I play on the pro swing setting. So I'm not chasing my ball all over the place all day. Oh, and that trickles into what is now the heavy rough. There's no light rough. I've talked about that in previous videos. That's a tough call on these type of holes. I think they do. You have to look really closely. But we'll talk about light rough versus heavy rough in a bit. Let's get rolling here. I don't have a great lie, but with that wind, we're actually going to go up another club. See what happens. It's not going to roll as far as I thought. You also see no fringe around the greens. Again, that's a tough one to pull off in this type of course. Both the light rough and the fringes, they kind of blend. There might not be much of either element on these type of courses. And once again, I'm talking and not focusing. But of course, it's hard to tell what exactly the designer had in mind when they were designing, but I can take a few guesses. And of course, for the record, I've never played these type of courses for real, so I don't have a close-up personal view of how they're really laid out and the details of it. But so what you see here is the next par 4 is, I'm sorry, par 5. Next hole is a par 5. And you've got 3 cross bunkers cutting across. It cuts the fairway in half. You've got a decision on which side you want to go to. With that hole, I don't really think you want the left, although the green is favoring kicking the ball back off to the right. But we're going to be safe and go over here. We're going to have the wind moving us a little to the right. Hopefully it doesn't move it too much. Give me a kick. Come on. There we go. Ooh, that's going to work out fine. If you take a look at the green here, actually you'd usually expect holes to slope towards the water, but this is kind of perched up on a dune. So you've got that backdrop, that backstop up there. So that's going to help you. Um, only 7 miles an hour, even though we're playing on medium winds. That's a pretty good lie. So we're going to leave it as is. Hopefully get a decent roll, and that should get somewhere close. Very close. Oh, wow, went farther than I thought. Helpful word from the caddy. Let's see if we can drop the eagle. Got it. All right, we'll take that. After an oops bogey on one, I will take the eagle to get me 1 under. Off to the first par 3. A little Eden-esque, if you ask me, about the right distance, 173. Not quite an Eden, but if you're not familiar with the Eden holes, I think we've talked about them before. You've got a series of bunkers, a hill, a strath, a Shelley, and the Eden in the back. There's nothing in the back, but they're similar to this setup, and similar to this length. So it's a little bit of an Eden-esque feel on this one. They usually slope severely back to front. This one's kind of going off to the side to the water, but I like it. Nice hole. Ooh, the wind's going to help us here, so we're going to throw it right at the middle and see what happens. Maybe could have put a little bit of spin on that, but I will certainly be happy with that. 22 feet. Greens are rolling at 165 for me. Again, I went with default. Of course, with these type of holes, get in. I'm sorry, with these types of courses, feel free to firm them up, speed up the greens, crank up the wind if you really want a true effect. Didn't want to do that here because I, try to keep these short and interesting, and in the casuals we play on easier settings. So, okay, we've got a hole here with, excuse me. I want to see if there's any OB on the right, which I assume there is. Yes, there's OB on the right, as is customary on a lot of these type holes. A little bit of a kind of bottle shape hole, I think. Let's see which way this green's going. Well, no, the green's going that way, so it does favor the left. So it's not quite a bottle, but that wind is right behind us. It's going to take us right in there. So I'm going to take those out of play, hit a 3-wood down the left side, and see what happens. Perfect. A little farther left would have been real good, but that's going to give us a nice little angle in. We're going to add some loft and some spin on it. I had a little bit left, and I pushed that, and I slowed it. It's going to take that hill off to the side of the green, and we're looking at it up and down. Oops is for sure there. So actually I need a little bit more distance. I'm going to go with the sand wedge. Give it a little spin. Check up. No, it's going to trickle a little, but should be makeable. Okay. Too firm. Too firm. Putting has not been very good so far. I'll have to tidy that up a little, but we're on to 5. Next par 5. Again, you got some OB off to the right, and you got a whole series of bunkers in the middle and on the right. So let's take a look at the green. You definitely want to be on the right here. So you want to flirt with the right side, but you've got bunkers over there. You got OB right. Should be okay, but now you see why I'm playing on pro settings, right? Got a little bit of wind. Moving to the right, so that is actually going to be just right. So you see the unique bunker shapes. There's some of the customary circular kind of pot bunkers, and then you got some very unique shapes. So it's varied, very authentic looking, and absolutely adds to the strategy. So we'll talk more about the strategy, but I wanted to get us rolling first and add some of the concepts later. Oh, nice little rock wall. I didn't notice that the first time I played it. There's some excellent little details here that you pick up each time you played it. I've played it about 2 or 3 times. Did not notice that rock wall at all. Those, you have to plant those rocks pretty much one by one. You can copy and paste, and you can't get them any higher. So that, I didn't look at how tall that rock wall was, but it only kind of copy and paste the first layer of rocks. So if you wanted to stack them one on top of the other, you can't do that with copy and paste. But all right, we have some spectators off to the right there, some livestock. Excellent, very authentic. Some OB still going along the right. So now if you look at the routing, we started off going out towards the coast, and we've kind of headed back up into the inland and going along the right side of the course. So eventually I'd assume at 9 we're turning around and going back the other way. So it makes for an interesting routing. Little 7-iron with some spin, and I pushed it and slowed it again. Give me some help. Give me some help. Give me some help. Okay. 27 feet up the hill. Take our par and move. Okay, 7th. Let's start taking a look at the bunkers. So what he's done here is he's added some light rough around the bunkers. There is no light rough around the fairway. It cuts right to this heavy rough. I've talked about this before. This is a challenge with these type of courses. Usually, you're gonna see light rough around the bunkers, especially in the center line bunkers, the ones in the fairway. Off to the sides, it's going to depend on the course, but take a look at some videos. It's mainly surrounded by that heavy rough. So the bunkers that are in the fairway, surrounded by fairway, we'll see them up by the green. You definitely want some light rough, but he's chosen a darker rough texture here. I'm not exactly sure why, other than to make it stand out a little bit more. The way I would have done it, and I tried to do it on Grashmore, is to pick a light rough that blends with the fairway. You could almost barely distinguish the two. This sticks out a little. I think you need it. But I think the problem with putting light rough in these courses is it's hard to find one that blends. I think in general the light rough makes the course look better. But it is hard to find that texture that matches the texture of the fairway. Else it looks absolutely ridiculous. And which is why I think a lot of the better designers stay away from it. But what I said before is you kind of get this transition here. You go from this to that, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you look at these courses, it's very subtle. It's even hard for me to tell on 4K videos where the kind of the fairway ends and the rough begins. There's like a transition. A lot of times you see a heavier band of light rough, or a really thin band of light rough that's almost indistinguishable. So the trick is you'd have to blend that in. So I'm not sure why, not knowing too much about the design, and I'm not familiar with Scott personally. He chose the kind of darker texture, makes him stick out a little. Could be a very good reason for it. I don't know. And I didn't have a chance to check in before making this video. One thing I do want to start doing is check in with these designers whose course I'm playing beforehand, but I'm just way behind with everything, and trying to get these out before we play them in the casuals events. Again, nothing wrong with it, but you see how it sticks out there a little bit on the approach. Getting these textures right on these courses is tough. There's a lot of textures. There's 30-something textures to choose from, but one that looks particularly linksy, there's not a lot. There's only like 3 or 4 that you could possibly use. And then people like to use that number 5 texture on the heavy rough to give it that kind of, colorless beige, wild growth look. So there's not much you can do to work with that texture as well. You can do all 5s, as some have done. I think the newer old course version is kind of all 5s. It looks pretty good. Okay, drivable 4 going out to the water. So now you see the routing is turning around a bit, and You've got the bunkers surrounding the green, and you've got a little valley right here. Of course, I'm going to go for it. I've got some wind, so I'm just going to pull it back a little, see what happens. Hopefully that's going to kick to the right. And it didn't quite make it. Didn't quite make it. So I've got a little pitch, uphill lie. A little short one for the bird. All right. 2 under, going to 9. All right, 9th hole. This is a gem, folks. This is a beauty. Look at this one. You've got a huge bunker here. It's kind of, I think this is a play on the Alps hole. If you know anything about design or architecture, yeah, this is definitely a play on an Alps hole. 17th at Prestwick, I believe, is the famous the Himalayas and the huge bunker in front of the green. It's much shorter, but I love it. It's a great concept. Driver is not quite doable here, right? You're going to go right into the hills and the bunker. So you got to kind of think what you want to do. 3-wood over here. Sorry for the blue line. You can do a 5-wood over here. Let's see what the wind's doing. The wind is in our face. And how do you want to approach this thing? You've got a green that's sloping away from you. And that pins right kind of in that little punch bowl-y type thing. So another feature of an Alps hole is there's a little bit of a punch bowl going on. This is a shorter 4, so it's not as drastic, but that's to help you. So the whole point is, the Alps, it's a blind tee shot coming on your second shot. I want it to be a full shot in, so I want to go about 257 or 240-ish. And so I'm going to hit a 3-wood, and I'm actually going to give it a little bit of spin and loft. Because I don't want it to run too much, to be honest with you. But I love it. It gives you a decision off the tee, gives you options, and then there's your blind shot, okay? There you go. 104 should be perfect. I've got, kind of lie do I have? Sorry. Really good lie. And then you see the huge bunker in front, and then you see some retaining walls. I think those are a nod to Prestwick. I do think you see those in Prestwick. You have to look closely. I did see another video where they were saying that, well, that looked very North American. I think that's a mistake on the reviewers' side. That's very Prestwick, actually. I think there's a bunch of those retaining walls holding up the hills and the sand. So that's a nod to Prestwick, not a mistake by the designer. Left myself a nice full shot in. The wind's going to help, even though I fasted that a little. And, oh, just too much spin. I just missed that hill. Oh, just missed it. I would have taken it down beautifully. So this I've got to be very gentle with. Nice. Greens roll beautifully. Talk a little bit about the undulations and the slopes momentarily. 10's another 4. And you get kind of going around the corner here. Again, you see another retaining wall. We're back along the beach. Now the beach is off on the right. And you see more fairway bunkers. And again, yeah, I just not sure exactly why that texture was chosen. Obviously, we'd love to have real pot bunkers as designers where you can get that, kind of sod wall type of thing. I'm just saying I might have went with something that blends a little bit better, but again, I'm not faulting the designer. It's not easy. These undulations and slopes are just done outstanding. To make it look and play this realistic is no easy task. So definitely hat tip to Scott here. These contours and rolls and everything, they don't happen by accident. This has to be carefully crafted to be, 1, realistic, 2, fun, and playable. Not easy at all. It's something I need to be better at, adding these kind of slopes and peaks and valleys. Um, but it's definitely hard work and appreciated when you see it, because to pull it off is really cool. And he's pulled this off lights out. Just a beautiful scene too. The planting is excellent, so natural and not overdone. I think I'm guilty of overdoing it to try to make it look natural, but just a light touch with the grass without too light and not looking computery. Um, the lighting just hits it perfect, and just awesome job. The dunes on the side. Oh, look at here. So another fairway interrupted, which is cool, right? So you can get away with this stuff on links courses, which is the cool thing. Um, a lot of times I get slack on some of my holes for stopping the fairway. Why is the fairway stopped? There has to be a reason. There usually is, but it's more subtle on a US based course that I do. It might just be a subtle hill or something. But here you can just smack dab stop the damn thing, right? And here's a wall for you. Hey, the fairway stops is a huge bunker, and then the fairway continues up above the hill, and that's cool and it works. Let's look at the green, nestled in those dunes again. Just great work. We'll look more closely on the second shot, but again, you have to make a decision. So this is a cool thing about these courses. It's all decisions. How do you play this strategically? What do you got going on? Make you think. None of this just blast your driver 357 yards every goddamn hole. Honestly, I'm getting tired of that. We all hit the ball a little too far, I think, in this game. Thanks to all the knickknacks and gizmos and fittings and super duper balls. This kind of takes you back to actually playing golf, and that's what's super cool about it to me, and why I really, really enjoyed this course and wanted to put it in the casuals. I'm going down the right side. I want no part of those two bunkers on the left. Slowed it, but actually that sounded good. That should work. Perfect. It's par 5, 250. I'm not going to make it, but pretty cool. Again, look at these hills and these dunes. It just nestles in there naturally. That looks absolutely fantastic and completely realistic. Great positioning there, because now I have to lay up. So the question is, with the wind in my face, where the hell am I laying up? Because I know I'm not going to make it. So I want to go back in front of that, and what do I want to leave myself? I want to leave myself preferably something full. Do I really want to go back to the 104 and hit it 184? That's probably what I'm doing. Right to the fat in that flat area, about 200 yards, and got 104. That's going to be a little much. I could put a little pitch on this. I think what I'm going to do, 89 is right on it, but I've got that wind. Can loft it and spin it. So it didn't quite work out. That wasn't that hard of a shot. Really cool hole. There you go. See what happens when I play smart? On a bit of a stretch here, I'll take it. Off to 12. All right, more decisions. You've got two bunkers kind of cutting you off there on the right side. You got a very interesting shaped bunker right in the middle. Over those bunkers, you've got some room over there. Heck, you can even go over there to the tee box if you really wanted. And let's take a look at the green. So you definitely want to be off to the left here. With that wind pushing me towards that bunker, I don't want to mess down there. So I'm just going to go down here with the 3-wood. And I pushed that too far right. I perfected it, but I pushed it. Bounce. And there I'm going to appreciate the light rough. Thank you. So that is why you do put light rough in around those bunkers, which I did. Because really, you hit one in kind of in the fairway, and the bunker's not usually surrounded by heavy rough in a fairway. It is sometimes. It depends on the type, of course. But this gives you a little bit of a break. Ah, not enough. I have 10 experience points. Wonderful. Makes my day. There we go. There's some good putting. After shaky putting start, I think I've picked it up a little bit. And off to 13. Another pretty shot off the tee. You've got two bunkers on the right again. That green is situated up on a hill. Whoa, look at that one. So that's a tough little spot there. A little trouble off to the left. But very, very pretty setting for this hole. 3 bunkers down the left side. And that's a pretty good spot to be in. Of course, I'm a little bit in between clubs, but I don't want to mess. I'm going to lower this and lower that a little bit. See what that does. Fastened it and pulled it a little. That's going to work. It's going to sit right there. That's all right. You just don't want to be any further left than that. That's for sure. Just off. So to me, this is more of a Prestwick feel than North Berwick. You know, I don't see any of the super interesting, different, unique North Berwick features like the, I believe it's the 13th with the wall that intersects the fairway and the green that you have to hit over. They have that funky 17th green that's almost I don't even want to call it a Biarritz. It kind of is, but very unique green shape on 17. This is definitely very Prestwicky to me. The setting for this par 3 out to the water is just absolutely fabulous. The bunkering's excellent. It just sits nestled between these dunes here. Really cool look, really cool work, and just, like I said, not as easy to pull off as it might seem. It's such a simple, natural look. Oh, terrible shot. This kind of stuff looks, it might even look easier to someone who doesn't design because it's so natural and simplistic, as compared to something more kind of spectacular and almost fantasy-like. But really, it takes a deft touch to do this, and these greens are rolling just perfect. Of course, as my ball rolls way away from the hole, that was not a good shot. So I suffered the fate I deserved there. And again, just look at that planting, how subtle behind the hole. Just very elegant. The beaches aren't very aren't very easy to pull off either. They look usually pretty bad. You got to spend some time making those look natural as well. So you see here, one more time, we've got all sorts of fun to consider off the tee. It's a shortish 4. We don't need to hit driver here. We could come up short of these bunkers if we wanted, but I think with that wind, I'm going right at that bunker and see if I can sneak it into the left. Of course, I pushed it. Give me some wind. I'll see if the fairway takes me right in, as it should in any good links course. It sure did, and I'm in. So you got a little bit of light rough and heavy rough. Again, I'd be interested to hear thoughts on that concept of this design. There's no right or wrong here, folks. One more time, just trying to make for some interesting conversation. I struggle with how to approach those as well, since we can't make the traditional bunkers. There you go. All right, 16. Again, you got some trouble off to the right, so you maybe want to favor the left, which is a pretty good angle, but of course you've got some OB to deal with off on the side here. You've got the town coming up. Obviously, we're angling back to the clubhouse now, as we've got 3 more holes to go, and we got to wind up where we started, right? So with these types of these types of courses, the routing is essential because you can really get a look and feel for the routing. You can't always get that in tree line courses, kind of parkland, US based courses in this game. That is, if you don't, especially if you're on the PlayStation and you're not on the PC, it just kind of feels like you're going hole by hole sometimes. You can't get a good feel for what the routing is actually like. These type of courses you certainly can, and that makes it feel just like a a nice traditional round the golf. Really cool stuff. Give me a kick off that. Oh, look at that. Not bad. Not bad. Fortuitous bounce. See if we can get another eagle. Tap in birdie. We'll take that. Another pretty scene off the tee. The final par 3. Very narrow green. Offset by the ocean in the back and a series of bunkers. Another good concept. I'm going to cut that one a little. Ah, I fasted it. Right into the bunker. Oh, look at that. Wish I could do slow motion replay for you. He should be smirking. And look at that planting back there, that hill. Really nice. And I didn't deserve the birdie there anyway. And now, geez, I'm looking at bogey if I don't nail this one. Terrible pace. Nope. Well, to be honest with you, that tee shot, I didn't really deserve a better fate than this. And the golf gods are smiling. Got what I deserved. Okay, let's wrap it up. 18. Coming in with the traditional par 4, the burn. You remember the burn from the first hole? There it is again. So we didn't really see it other than 1 and 18, like I said. You've got town off to the left here. Then you can see the clubhouse and the town further behind the clubhouse. So it's a really cool setting. Really well done. This whole you've got to make a decision again, and definitely you can carry over there. That hole, that's a tricky spot there. You do want that off to the left a little bit. We don't want to risk too much with the water, but hopefully that'll come back to the middle a little bit. Okay. So here's the approach. You've got a huge bunker right in front. 124. That's actually at a pitch I don't want to pitch. 118 is actually going to be even better, right? That's going to set up nicely. Okay. Awesome. Pretty easy putt to finish with the bird. Can he do it? Oh, he's got it. He has got it. I will take that, folks. All right, there it is. Elysian Fields. Scottish 67. Great job, Scott. Coming to you in the casuals week 8. Definitely look forward to this one. I think you'll love it. It's I'm not sure if we've featured any of Scott's courses previously. So get on out there, have a good time, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks for joining. Please like and subscribe. Looking forward to doing more of these, and love your feedback as well. All right? Have a great time out there on the course. See you soon.